So here's where I'm at currently. I soaked this area here through the night with PB Blaster, and I came back in the morning and it was still pooled there, so it's not penetrating into there very much. It's like airtight. And the reason is you can see the rust here. When it starts to rust, it kind of blisters up like that, and so it's essentially like cold welded in there right now. So it's going to be, I don't know how I'm going to get this thing out, because this is like the biggest vise. It's a machinist vise, 8-inch jaw, and that means it also has very good tolerances, which is bad when it rusts. So, God, it's going to be really annoying to get this thing out of there. So yeah. So I tried dropping this thing a few times. Soaked it again in PB Blaster. Just kind of dropped it with this part down on some wood, and made a lot of noise. Didn't go anywhere. This thing is stuck like hell, and I don't really want to tighten it. I was just trying to get it to move at all, but I don't really want to tighten it much because you can see all the rust in there. I don't want to push that further in there and get it more stuck. Gosh, yeah, I don't know. I may have to like heat it with a blowtorch or something and put some kind of, I don't know, water or like dry ice on the inside or something like that to make the outer part expand or something. But it's such a big piece of metal that I don't know that that's going to work. So I think my best bet is going to be putting that lead screw back in here, fashioning a sacrificial plate here, getting some screws that I don't mind shearing off, replacing this, putting the female insert back in, and see if I can use the lead screw to back it out somehow, because this thing is not going anywhere. There we go. It's keyed up. Put the pin in there. Put the other pin in. All right. And I'm ready to install this plate that I made. There we go. That's the original. That's the cut one. Lines up pretty nicely. So there we go. Like I said, I'm not going to bother cutting any of this stuff off because it's not necessary. It's not load bearing at all. Here's the inside. Reasonably happy with that. Think it'll be fine. You can see the difference in thickness. So the plate is 1/4 inch. It's going in a lot smoother than before. I've got the plate backed up one of the screw heads now, and that's about as far as it goes right now. So I'm going to apply the breaker bar, and well, let's just see how far I can get it. Nothing. So just gonna put more force on there. Alright, so I've got about 2 or 3 good turns out of it with my bar. And this damn thing hasn't moved at all. The screws, though, you can see in there, they now look like coarse pitch. They're just extending. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to work. Back to square one. Also pulled these rear pins back out. And as you can see, they're bent. These are 1/4 inch bolts. So I'm guessing these pins that they have in there normally are hardened steel. But yeah. Damn it. So I'm going to have to replace those too. I didn't manage to budge the vise at all, but I did manage to get anti-seize everywhere. So that's good. So here's Rev 2 of me trying to get this this vise jaw loose using the lead screw by backing it out. A couple things that I changed are I replaced those 1/4-inch bolts, which didn't hold up too well. As you can see, they're kind of deformed there. And I found these 1/4-inch linch pins at the hardware store, and I like them because they have these hoops, so they're a lot easier to pull out, even if they do get deformed a little bit. And the other thing is, I think they're made out of the same material as grade 8 bolts, so they should resist this. They should be a lot less ductile, so hopefully they don't end up like this again. The second thing is, I replaced those stainless steel bolts that I was using before with some hex head grade 8 rated bolts. So these should have a much higher tensile strength than the previous ones I was using. All right, here we go. I've got my extension rod on the lead screw handle, and I'm just going to twist it. See if I can back this out slowly. It's getting really loose again. So I pulled the threads back out again, and the screws seen here, and the threads look fine again. So I came back here to find this. So this should be recessed a little bit more than that. Well, so much for that. Those are the rest of the linch pins right there. You can see they have basically sheared off into this shaft here. Oh, one just fell out. There it is. And those are the end of my linch pins. Well, so much for that idea. Oh, god damn it. You can see it's damaging this. Okay, well, we're not doing that anymore. All right, here's the next plan in getting these jaws off. We're pretty firmly in Wile E. Coyote territory at this point. I've tried heating this base up. I've tried hitting this thing with a sledgehammer. Problem is, I just can't get enough. I just can't get enough force on these dynamic jaws to get them off, because I can't get in the back here because of this thing in the way. So I can't push it somehow. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this up to that tree there, and I'm going to hook the dynamic jaws up to my brother-in-law's truck, and I'm going to go for it. All right.
This is so...
Holy crap. It's bouncing.
All right. Well, unfortunately, trying to pull this thing apart with chains didn't work at all. I mean, this thing it's like a force of nature. It's just stuck. Didn't even budge, not even a little bit. So I don't see any other option besides pushing from the back, pushing it out. That's the only way I can think of to put enough force on that dynamic jaw to be able to move it. I need like probably at least a 20-ton bottle jack or something like that. So I'm gonna have to get creative, but first I gotta get this back thing out here. Basically, I need something to push on this so that I can push it out. And here's what I'm gonna use. This is a basically a manual jackhammer. My plan is to basically just slap this with a sledgehammer. And you can see this fits in here pretty well. So I'm just going to strap it on there like that, and then I have enough clearance to just hit it pretty hard with a sledgehammer. All right, so here's the finished setup. I got my vise here. It's just standing upright right now, but I'm actually able to lift it from this already. And you can see I got 2 ratchet straps attached, one on each side, and the reason I did that is to keep this thing from shifting either one way or the other, and also to keep downforce on that dynamic jaw as I'm hitting it. So if the jaw starts coming out too, then I can just ratchet it and tighten it right back up again. Yeah, so now next order of business is just going to be attaching this to my cement base. All right, so here we have it. It's reinstalled. I got that metal plate in there, and this is take 2. I didn't film the first part, but 20-pound hammer. Gonna try and knock it out of there. It doesn't even budge. All right, whatever. Here we go again. Fuck. I think the bolt just broke. Yep, just sheared the bolt. So I got those bolts out. There's the remnants. This is the one that was sheared off. Managed to get it out. And I think these are maybe 3/8 inch or something like that. You can see, yeah, these aren't gonna cut it. That one also sheared off as I was getting it out. It's the sheath. And so I cleaned out the holes. I drilled them out 5/8 inch and put some new bolts in there. These are 5/8 inch, 6-inch length. My concrete is about 4 inches. This is about 1 inch, so these are about 6 inches long. Let's get a rear shot here. So they're basically just through and through bolts. I drilled all the way through the concrete and replaced them. All right, it's like 6 o'clock and it's nighttime here in Austin, Texas because of daylight savings. Anyway, here's my completed setup. The blocks here, they aren't actually touching. This is just a safety mechanism in case these chains give out, but they seem pretty robust. So I put it vertical so I can get some nice gravity-assisted swings on this thing. And also, my second half of the slab here, this didn't break because of this, because of me hitting this. This was previously broken. But I put it on the bottom, nice rigid surface, so that it'll absorb most of the impact. Here we go. Here's the aftermath of me hitting it with that sledgehammer several times. I didn't even notice this before, but this concrete slab's completely separated at this point. I can just lift it off, actually. Before I was looking at it from up top like this, so I didn't even notice the crack. So I'm glad I stopped when I did, but it's pretty much what I expected to happen. So, yeah, there we are. No change in the vise either. Just checked it. You got to clean some of that debris out of there, but no real movement. It's pretty much the same as it was. Just gonna clean it up and move on to the next plan. So I noticed a few other interesting things while I was doing the cleanup and stuff like that. The first of which are these bolts here. You notice they have a definite S pattern to them. And these are 5/8 inch bolts. They're grade 2s, but I mean, they're pretty thick compared to my finger here. So I'm not going to be able to reuse these. And I'm definitely going to need stronger bolts for when I do the press, otherwise they're just going to shear off. Probably grade 8, 5/8 inch. Another thing I noticed was the top of this pipe here, which is up against that dynamic jaw. It used to be flat. Now it's got this little ridge here. And that ridge is because of this plate that I fashioned. This is where the groove was. So that basically means all this pipe deformed while being hit and being up against that dynamic jaw, created this little ridge here. Had the concrete not broken, had the bolts not sheared, then this pipe would have probably been next. It would probably just started bulging out here. And the Vise is none the wiser. It hasn't moved at all. It hadn't even noticed. It's looking as beautiful as ever. Not having moved. But that's where I'm at now. On to the next